Hey there, Stampers. Happy Friday. My name is Sherry Roth. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Alberta, Canada, and I come on live every Friday to share a crafty project with you. And this week is the second week of my celebration product focus. So last week I created these two cards using the celebration product called Driving By. So that is a product that you can earn for free with a qualifying purchase. And I always draw the projects, providing they're mailable, I always draw the name from the comments and the shares. So I actually drew two names. So Kathy Lovell, I will send you this card in the mail, and Ray Wynn, congratulations, I will send you this card here in the mail. So thank you everyone who participated in the conversation, who shared my video. I appreciate all of the shares and the comments. It really helps me feel like I'm not sitting here talking to myself. So if you'd like the opportunity to win one of the two cards that I'm making today, then feel free to comment. You can comment whether you're watching live or you can comment on the replay. You have all the way up until just before my Facebook Live next week in order to get entered to win. If you share, you get 5 entries. And if you watch on YouTube as well, I keep track of the comments on YouTube as well. All right. So just my little way of saying thank you for watching and for your support. Okay. So like I said, every Friday for the until the end of February, I will be choosing a different celebration item to promote or to share or to inspire you. And last week was the Driving By stamp set. This week is going to be the Island Vibes stamp set. I figured that was perfect for, that was perfect for for January. January, where we live anyways, it's very cold, it's dark, it gets dark really early. It just feels like winter is never going to end. So I thought that would be a perfect little tropical escape for the month of January. So I will be using the Island Vibes stamp set, and I believe I've used the Special Moments stamp set as well, which is another great celebration product that you'll see me actually use quite a bit over the next couple months because it's so great and it can be combined with so many different things. I always say that you can never have enough greeting sets because you're always looking for the right greeting to send to the right person. And this one has a ton of different greetings to it. So those are the two that we're using today. All right, I got a couple other things that I want to chat about before we get into the crafting project here. Now, this is a new collection of products. It's called All Together that will be available to customers beginning February 1st. And it includes 5 new sets of blends and a bundle. So a stamp set, stamp set and dies, and then some 6x6 black and white DSP. All right. So this will be available to order to customers February 1st. However, if you are a demonstrator right now, you can pre-order it. Or if you want to purchase the starter kit, which is a fabulous deal right now during celebration. So until the end of February, you can pay $135. You get to choose $165 worth of product, and that can include products from this collection. So you can choose the entire collection, which is $143.50, or you can pick and choose pieces from this collection and add it to your starter kit. You can also choose items from the January to June 2022 mini catalog and the annual catalog, as well as clearance rack products. So you can pick and choose anything that is available to purchase and make that your starter kit. And if you choose to purchase the starter kit before the end of February, then you also get to choose 2 additional stamp sets. And those can be any stamp sets that are available to purchase. So I always suggest that you choose the most expensive stamp sets that are on your wish list. And those stamp sets can come from the January to June mini catalog or the annual catalog. All right. And then lastly, Sunday is the last day to register for the Winter Celebration Extravaganza, which is an all-day event that my team and I host for our customers. And it is on January 29th. It runs from 7 a.m. Mountain Time to 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Every hour on the hour, there is a new project posted. There are 6 make and takes. Those are done via Facebook Live. The whole event is done in a private Facebook group. So the 6 make and takes are done via Facebook Live. We have a Zoom mystery stamping session, and then every other hour, apart from those, there is an additional video posted with inspiration, and we are focusing on the Artfully Composed suite. That's the main product that we're focusing on, but you will see additional products as well. In addition to that full day of inspiration, beginning on Sunday the 23rd at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, and every day leading up to the event, we have a bonus Facebook Live video featuring a different celebration product. So there is just a ton of inspiration. It's such a fun event. So Sunday's the last day to register if you want to receive a kit for that. So I did post in the description a link to where you can find all of that information. You don't want to miss out on this event. It's going to be fabulous. Here is a couple projects that I've already shared. Now, these aren't projects that we're going to be making at the event. It's just projects that I've shared. Both of them have videos featuring the suite that we are going to be focusing on. So this one here, it's kind of a fun little card, just a little bit different with using one of the basic border dies to create that decorative card front. This was posted on my blog at stampedtreasures.com earlier this week. I think it was on Wednesday. So you can find the video for that up on my YouTube channel or on my blog. And then this was one I posted towards the end of December, just kind of a little peekaboo card. And you can find the video for this one on my YouTube channel as well. All right. Okay, so that's enough talking. Let's get into our crafting. So today, like I said, we are going to be focusing on the Island Vibes stamp set. So the first image that we're going to use is this leafy image here. Let me just catch up on the comments here. Good morning, Kim and Christine and Lana and Tracy. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Okay, so I've got that leafy image and some old olive cardstock, and let's pull in our kit here. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've pre-done a few things here. Let me explain to you what I've done. Okay, so the first thing that I did was I used the scallop contour dies, and I die cut the second largest scallop rectangle. These are seriously some of my favorite dies that we've ever carried. I absolutely love these. I love that they're all scalloped, but they're all just slightly different. So each one of these has a little bit of a different detail. So this particular one has like paper piece piercing. So it's got tiny little dots, almost like a stitching around the edges. Okay, so I've used that, and I love this scallop border as well. I use that quite often. Okay, so that was the first thing that I pre-did. The second thing that I did was this Island Vibe stamp set coordinates great with that Artfully Composed suite that we're using at our winter celebration extravaganza. So it works really, really well with these tropical layer dies. So what I've done is I've done two things. I took a piece of Calypso Coral cardstock and I die cut this border piece. Okay, so I did that. I'm going to use a portion of that. And then I used this particular leaf die and I die cut it from vellum. Okay, so those are the pieces. Oh, and one other thing. And then I took my painted texture embossing folder. This is a 3D embossing folder. And I took a 4 by 5¼ inch piece of old olive cardstock and embossed it to give it a little bit of texture. All right. So I think that is everything that I pre-did. Everything else I will do for you live here. And you can always visit my blog to find out the measurements for the two projects that I'm making today. I have 3 to share with you, but I'm only actually making 2 of them live. I'm just going to grab a scrap piece of paper here. Slide this out of the way. I've got a piece of white cardstock that I cut so that it fits perfectly inside of that stitching detail on that white layer there. Okay, and we're going to take our leafy image and our Old Olive ink, and we're going to ink this up and stamp it twice. So I just want to make sure it's well inked, and I'm going to put this on here, and I'm going to go over the edge just a little bit and apply some nice even pressure so I get this beautiful image. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. And then I'm going to repeat it in this corner here. And I'm going off of the edge just so that I don't end up with a little white gap. I don't want there to be a white border. Okay, there we go. Isn't that pretty? Okay, we're going to repeat that on the inside layer of our card as well. So I've got a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of white, and I'm going to take this image, ink it up again, and do exactly the same thing on the inside of my card as well. And then flip it around, do it in the other corner. It's always nice to tie in the outside of your card to the inside as well. And we can also do our envelope. I think this would be really pretty going all the way around as well. We create a really pretty border. So we might as well do our envelope while we've got the stamp out. I'm going to do the lower left corner. There we go. Okay, so everything all kind of matches. Set that aside, and we can move our scrap paper out of the way. Okay, so that's going to go on there. I've got a scrap piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to use the greeting that says, "I think you're wonderful," and that is one of the greetings from the Special Moments stamp set. I'm going to ink it up with some Memento ink. And just stamp this on here, and then I'll trim it to fit. Okay. So I'll bring in my paper trimmer and we'll trim this down a little bit. So this will end up being just shy of 1/2 inch. And then I'll trim it this way as well. I always like to give myself a little bit of flexibility and cut a larger piece when I stamp my greetings, just in case I don't stamp it straight, or if I decide to change my mind and use a different greeting, I have a little bit more space, and then I can trim it down afterwards. Okay, now we're going to take our seal adhesive, and I'm going to put some adhesive on the back here. I'm going to bring in this border strip that I pre-cut, and I'm going to cover over the stitching for this particular one. I just want that little bit, that bit of coral peeking out from underneath. And then I'm going to trim this. Okay, so now we've got all of our elements here. We can go ahead and start assembling. My card base is going to be a piece of Old Olive cardstock, measures just a standard size 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And we are going to add our embossed layer of Old Olive. And because this is embossed and it's got some texture, I'm adding a little bit more adhesive than what I would normally add. I always say that our multi-purpose glue is a really, really good glue. You don't need a lot of it. Usually just putting a little bit in the four corners is just enough. But because this has a little bit more texture to it, I was a little bit more generous with the glue. Okay, now we're gonna add our inside layer. So here you can see how much I would normally use. So just a little bit in the four corners. That's gonna go on here like that. Okay, and then this will get attached to our scallop rectangle. So this piece is a really odd measurement. I don't think I mentioned it to you guys. It's 2 9/16 by 3 7/8. And like I said, you can find the measurements over on my blog at stamptreasures.com. But that was the measurement that kind of worked perfectly so that you get this nice even border around the edges, and it fits kind of perfectly in, but still shows that stitching detail around the edges. Okay, then we'll go ahead and adhere this to our card front. And again, I'm going to add a little bit more in the middle just because we're adhering it to something that has a little bit more texture. So that's going to go on there. Okay, and then we've got our greeting here. I've got a little bit of white twine that I'm just going to kind of wrap around my fingers. And I'm going to use a little bit of this. Just kind of put that on there. That's going to go right there. I'm going to take my bone folder and just kind of curl this up just a little bit, just to give it a bit of dimension. Slide this under here. And then this is going to get popped up using dimensionals. And actually, because I put adhesive all the way down to adhere my border strip, I'm going to be generous with my dimensionals as well. Okay, I think this is just a little bit too long. We're going to tweak this a little bit here. I really just want a couple loops. Trim this, and then we'll pop this on here, and I'm going to line this up with the edge of that stamped piece. And there we go. Oh, got one last thing to do here. I'm going to take some polished dots. So these are from the January to June mini catalog. They come in clear, and I can't remember if this is Blushing Bride or Petal Pink. Might be Blushing Bride. But I'm going to use the clear ones and just grab a couple of them. One of the larger ones, one of the smaller ones, and just add that on there as a little added detail. And there we go. There's our first Island Vibes card. We've got the matching inside and then the matching envelope. All right, so there's card number one. Now we'll bring in, this time we're going to use this image here. And let's grab my card kit here. Okay, and I'll show you what I've gone ahead and done in advance. Okay, so I've got the layering circles, I've gone ahead and I've cut. Now, did I jot down what size this was? Okay, so let me tell you here. Okay, so it is the third largest scallop circle from Calypso Coral and the third largest solid circle from Basic White. So I've gone ahead and I've cut those. And then I cut the word thanks. This is from a fabulous new die set. It is called Amazing Thanks dies. It is available in the January to June mini catalog, and it's available as a bundle, or you can get it individually. The stamp set is beautiful. We're not using it today. We're just using the dies. And the great thing about these dies is you can actually layer them. So this one is this thanks, but then there's another thanks so that you could mat this. So it's just slightly larger and it looks so amazing. You will definitely see cards with that another time, but I went ahead and I just used this one and I die cut it from Evening Evergreen. Okay, and normally I would say you will want to use your adhesive sheets when you use this so that you can easily stick it, but we are actually going to pop up a portion of it. So I didn't use any adhesive sheets for this particular one. Okay, so those are the Amazing Thanks dies. The other words in here, you are amazing, and then thanks. So you can see that the U, the R gets matted onto that, amazing gets matted onto that, and then thanks onto this. Okay. All right. And then what else? Okay. And then I've got several other pieces. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do our stamping before we go into the other pieces. Those are the pieces that I've gone ahead and I've die cut. Okay. So now I'm going to pull in some Calypso Coral ink and some Just Jade ink. Those are going to be the two colors that I use. And we're going to stamp this this image. And we're going to do it in two-tone, but we're not going to use the markers for this. So I'm going to share some of the images that we have where you might want to use two different colors. You can actually do using your ink pad quite easily. You can always use our Stampin' Write markers. Those are our water-based markers where you can color right on the stamps and you can ink up a stamp in multiple colors. Quite easily, but I'm going to show you for something like this where the pot I would basically want one color, and then the plant itself I would want in a different color. What you can do is you can actually just, if it's easy to separate like this, you can actually just ink it up by using the image that's on the back of your stamp. Okay. So I've inked that up with Calypso Coral. Now I'm going to bring in my Just Jade and I'm going to ink up the rest. Okay, and then we will go ahead and we'll stamp it on this one. So I'm just going to huff on it and stamp it right in the middle. Okay. And we've got that beautiful image. Now this is a 4 by 5¼ inch piece of white cardstock. The other way that you can do it in multiple colors is you can actually use our finger daubers or sponge daubers. So I'm going to take the sponge dauber and dip it into my jade and add the color right onto it. And then I'll do the same thing with the coral. So this is another way that you can get two tones if you don't have, or two colors if you don't have our Stampin' Write markers. Okay, and then I'm going to huff on this. And I'm going to stamp it in the middle of my card, well, a little bit closer to the left. Okay, now I do want to point out that there is a difference. Okay, so if you take a look, you can see that the colors are much more vibrant if you use the ink pad directly to your stamp. If you use the sponge daubers or the finger daubers, then the colors are a little bit more subtle. Okay, now while we've got this out, we're going to go ahead and do our envelope. So I'm just going to use the finger daubers. I actually like it both ways. It looks really good either way. It's not like the colors are so subtle that you can't tell what it is. It's just a little bit lighter. Okay. And then make sure my envelope's going the right way. Have fun it. And stamp it down. And now we have a matching envelope. Okay, so we can put these ink pads away for now. And we can set the envelope aside. All right, so our card base is a piece of Evening Evergreen, just a standard size 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Actually, we have some more stamping to do. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the greeting that says, just a card to say you're amazing, again, from this Special Moment stamp set, and I'm going to bring in my Memento ink. Ink that up. And then this will tuck quite nicely right in here. There we go. And that's just a nice way to carry that same image in from the outside to the inside of the card and to dress up the inside. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll adhere this first. I just realized that both cards are landscape cards today. I don't very often make landscape cards. I don't know, for some reason, my mind automatically goes to portrait. Okay, and then I've got two pieces of, well, a piece of cardstock and a piece of DSP. Now the cardstock is a piece of Just Jade. It measures 3 3/4 by 4 1/2. And then this is a piece of the Artfully Composed DSP. And this measures 3 5/8 by 4 1/4. And we're going to go ahead and adhere the two. But what we're going to do is there's only going to be a border on 3 sides. Okay, so I'm lining it up right with the left. Well, that's how I'm holding it right now, which will end up being the top of our card. And then I'm going to add some adhesive to the back here. And this will get lined up right with the fold. And I'm centering it from side to side, or I guess top and bottom, how I'm holding it. Okay. So there's an even border all the way around on 3 sides. So it's going to open up like this. All right. And then we can bring in our focal point. Oh, look, I'm using a scrap piece of cardstock with a stamped image on the back. That's going to go in the center, so we just have a tiny little bit of that coral peeking out. And we'll use some dimensionals. That sheet is done. Add some dimensionals on here. This is going to overhang the right just a little bit. Okay, and then this piece, remember I said that normally it's great to use some adhesive sheets to stick this down, but what I want to do is I want to have it so that it's kind of sitting on top here. So this will be flat adhesive. So I'll use just my multi-purpose glue. But then I need to pop this up so that it's an even height with what I just popped up. So adhesive sheets wouldn't be necessarily the best choice for this particular use. So I've got some mini dimensionals that are black, just because we're using this darker colored cardstock. And I've gone ahead and I've cut this end piece in half. So they're just a half of a mini dimensional. So they're pretty tiny. And I'm going to add them to the back of a few of these letters. I'm only going to go as far as the N, and then the K and the S I will do with multi-purpose glue. And I'll just add a little bit of this on here and make sure this is straight. There we go. So now it's pretty level going all the way across. Okay, and then the second last step is I've got a little piece of baker's twine. You didn't think that I was going to create a card without baker's twine, did you? It's always baker's twine or linen thread or some sort of fiber on my projects, almost always anyways. So I've got a little bow tied with some white twine that I'm adding right there. And then I'm going to bring in some garden gems. Now these gems are no longer available. They were available as part of the Eden's Garden Suite that was available back in November. Now that bundle is still available. It's in the January to June catalog, but these are no longer available. But many of you might have them, and the colors work perfectly. If you don't have them, you can use regular rhinestones. You can color the rhinestones with like Just Jade or Evening Evergreen blends. So there's lots of ways that you can get them into the right color or to the right color. So I'm just going to choose a couple of these. What I like about these is that they almost have like a hint of, depending on how you're looking at them, of red, or what in this case could look like orange or coral, because we've added a bit of coral there. So depending on the light that you're looking at them in, it kind of brings in that orange. All right, so there is our second card. Where did our envelope go? So there's our second card featuring the Island Vibes Celebration set, which again is a set that you can choose for free with a $60 purchase during celebration. That runs until the end of February. So here's our first one, here's our second one, and then I promised that I had a third one to share with you. I'm not actually going to create this one, but I'll share the details of it. So this one uses the pineapple, which is my favorite image. Love it. So I inked it up the same way that I inked this one up. So I used Bumblebee and Mossy Meadow, inked it up exactly the same way that I did this one. Added a little bit of linen thread here. This background piece here is embossed using the Stripes and Splatters embossing folder. So this is a set of 2 from the January to June mini catalog. I used the splatter one, which creates this fabulous background. I just love it. Matted that onto a piece of Mossy Meadow and then onto a thick white card base. I stamped Big Congratulations, which is also from this Special Moments stamp set, which is a stamp set that you can choose for free with a $120 order during celebration. I stamped that with Versamark on some black cardstock and then embossed with white embossing powder. And then I just kind of fussy cut around it and popped that up. And then I used some of the artistic, I can't remember the name of it. They're self-adhesive sequins from the annual catalog. And I just noticed that this one it's broken. It's not a fully round one. It's kind of an odd shape there. I'm gonna have to change that out. But there is another card idea for you using the Island Vibes stamp set. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope I inspired you to create with this beautiful stamp set. Just a reminder that you have until end of day on Sunday to register for our winter celebration extravaganza. You don't want to miss out on that event. It's going to be full of great projects and prizes and lots of fun. All right, so if you'd like a kit, if you are in Canada, the deadline to register to receive a kit is on Sunday, January 16th. All right, if you are outside of Canada, there is an option for you to participate as well. So just click the link that's in the description and you'll find all the information that you need. All right, thanks so much for watching. Have a fabulous weekend and we'll see you next week. All right, take care. Bye, guys.